Is it for you? Okay, so good morning to everybody. Can everybody hear us? Okay.
Thank you, yes.
So Tom can hear us, everybody else is muted, and but I'm assuming everybody, if Tom can hear us, everybody else can.
Yes, good morning, I can hear.
Oh, good. All right, so we have a quorum here. Online is our team, Bob Douglas, Tom Seeker, Tracy McDunn. In the town hall is me, Mark Rivers, John Glory, Catherine Hilton, Howard, and Mary.
You guys calculate last names.
Yeah, that's too much talking on my part. We're a good old group here. All right, so we're gonna go by our agendas here. Let's see here. The first item is to review the minutes from last meeting. Is there any changes that someone wants to make? Are there any mistakes or things I missed?
Looks good to me. Move to accept. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the minutes are accepted.
Do you guys do roll call votes?
We did, well, if it's something important, I mean, we could, I mean, it's just, if it's just the acceptance of the minutes, I don't think we've ever got accepted the minutes.
I thought it was required for every vote, period.
Well, we can certainly do that, Tom. All right, so John.
I'm not asking you to, I'm just asking whether it's required.
I didn't think it was a necessary formality. All right.
I don't know if we know. I just wanted to ask if it was required.
Let's assume it is. And so will Catherine, do
Yes.
Howard, yes, Mary,
Yes.
Mark, yes, Art. Art says yes. All right, we're good to go. John, all right? I didn't. Right? Good. Second item on the agenda was E. coli testing for the year. I sent it out the agenda for the meeting, the data, basically, the E. coli at the lake for the 3 beaches and for the one test we did at Elliott Park were very low, unusually low this year.
They were surprisingly low considering all the rain we had, which
Yeah.
often brings it up. These numbers are outstanding. The limit is 235, right? And we never came
We
close.
never hit over 100, which is unusual, because usually, in August, we usually get into the 100 ranges. But so everything is looking good from the E. coli perspective. Never because we had so much rain. It could be rain, it flushed it out, it could be it was.
Possibly.
Yeah, the temperature's not quite as high.
Right, but often what happens is we'll get well, if this was only E. coli, often we'll have a big rain event and there'll be a lot of runoff and we'll get high coliform numbers. But if they weren't testing for total coliform, but only for E. coli, that would explain this.
Last year, they did measure both E. coli and total. This year, the company is doing it, they just measured E. coli. The state parks are still know what's going on over there, and they probably never will.
Probably not, but they have problems of their own and they don't seem to affect the whole lake. I mean, they were red flagged for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, and then the rest of the lake, we were having these pristine conditions.
And they're measuring something different.
They are, but it is also basically a fecal coliform indicator. It should be, they should track. We don't know that, but it should.
Tracy, you have your hand raised?
Yes, I was basically going to bring up the same thing, that, over at the state beach, it was closed, most of the summer again. And last year we were more in a drought. And so that was the thought that maybe it was that, but this year there was no drought. So it's clearly something that isn't doesn't revolve around those two things. And it's a bacteria. That's all I could get out of the people that work there, because they don't get any information either. So the only concern I have is that it's been, 2 summers in a row, and it's been such a long period of time. And I feel that a little concerned that whatever's going on over there is going to be something that creeps. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about how those things work, but it just seems like that could be a logical conclusion.
Tracy, what I think is happening is that it's a function of heavy use. Lots of people in the water and on the beach, and it's getting, because of the flow pattern in the lake, it's basically getting washed out of away from the state beach when it's over, and over the dam and away. So it's not getting into the rest of the lake.
That makes sense. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? I mean, it would be fun or interesting to do another, to measure Jericho at the association beaches, but the association, is not gonna pay for that. I don't think, then there's no right, there's no necessity for them to.
It would be easier for us to do a few E. coli tests at the park.
Yeah,
Actually, that's what I was gonna say.
We
Can
have a budget, we could spend some of it on that.
Might be interesting to just once in a while when their red flag is up, test it.
all right, so I'll make a note here for the minute, and I'll say next year, when we get into this, we'll do some tests. We did test at Elliott Park, and we can certainly go out and sample the state beach, just for interest.
Right.
So we'll do that next year. Or we'll discuss it next year and then come to a conclusion.
Right.
All right. Anything else about E. coli? Okay, item 3 is an update on the dam inspections and the notice of intent. On the 28th of August, I did send a note to the select board with based upon our last meeting, we recommended that they go ahead and go ahead with repairs of the sluice gate leak. And it's just, I got a call from Becky, and she was gonna see about money available, what they had for money. But I don't know if it was discussed in a select board meeting, other than that. I don't know. Let's see, I also talked to, I'm trying to get an update on the status of the engineering companies that we went after to do the dam inspections and the notice of intent and the chapter 91. A couple of months ago, we only had one company out of the 8 to respond. They basically said the others who didn't respond, they said that they were too busy. Becky said that she was going to reach out to them again, just to give them, extend the deadline. Was hoping to get at least another thing. So I'll give her a little push and see if we can just finalize that and move ahead, just so we can get that process going.
Really, I think we were lucky to get one.
You really think so, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. You think the engineering companies are that busy, or?
I kind of think so, yeah, everything seems to be squeezed everywhere.
So hopefully I'll move along and we can get that project going. The quotes that we did get were like $45,000 a year for the first 2 years to get the notice of intent and the chapter 91 license squared away. So that's about it for that. Yeah, Mary, can I ask you to give a kind of update on what your understanding of the winter drawdown is? Is it? Yeah.
So we did meet on Thursday, to look at what was going on out there and talk to Becky and the construction people and the Concom. And right now their request is not to start the drawdown till at least November 1st.
Because of the culvert work?
Because of the culvert work. Now, that being said, we've also got a meeting on Monday. They're supposed to have the bypass ready to test. And once, if that's okay, it's only supposed to take 3 weeks to do the work. So that may change, but for right now, like I said, they didn't want to say, do any drawdown. Although with the bigger pipe, the drawdown shouldn't affect them, but to hold off right now till November 1st.
Yeah, technically, we're supposed to hold off on November 1st, unless
Yes.
Howard feels that there's a chance the lake is gonna freeze before then, in which case you can, with, under the previous notice of intent.
Mhm.
You let you guys know.
How much the lake region is the shoreline,
Yeah,
whatever's supposed to be moving,
yes, she has a chance to move.
yeah.
So as far as we know, everything is all gonna happen this year and,
Yes, it's moving right along quickly now. They're adjusting their work schedule. Like this week, they work Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And at the end of next week, it's supposed to be all sunny days, so hopefully they'll get a lot of the work done then.
good. Any questions from anybody on that subject?
I just wanted to ask what the last item was that you were talking about that you need all those engineers for. I didn't catch what that was.
Okay,
I'm on the agenda, but it's
we-
not.
we used to have a dam engineer named Morris Root, who would do the dam inspections. Morris is retiring, or has
Oh.
retired.
You're looking for a replacement. Got it.
And so we're looking for a company that can do the dam inspections, but the next one's not due till 25. But also that has this expertise to do the notice of intent and the wildlife habitat evaluations and the chapter 91 licenses for the dam itself, which we didn't, no one knew we needed that until recently. And so we're looking for a company that's a little bit bigger, or that can do everything. And these were companies that Morris had recommended that he had worked with. And so it was like 8 companies that we sent out proposals to. Good.
Thank you.
Next item is the culvert replacement project. I think everybody kind of knows what's going on there. It's moving along. John Kinder was doing, I started making water flow measurements. And then I was away the past 2 weeks, and so John took it over. After the big rain that we had, well, I guess it was last week, we had a very large rain one day. I wasn't here, but 2 days later, John measured 40 cubic feet per second in the culvert, which is so it's actually a good idea that we went ahead with the larger culvert, because that would have inundated both the pumps that we were supposed to have and the original culvert design. So there is a lot of water. It's a very rainy season, and but we should be in good shape. I can make more measurements whenever Becky or the contractor task. So we have some good data now to verify it. Interesting enough that the results are in the ballpark, gross ballpark of 50% of the USGS site on the Swift River. Yeah, it's not exactly, but it's kind of in the ballpark. So it's always kind of interesting that Bill's original estimates that he went by were, he must have made the measurements and did the comparisons to come up with that kind of ballpark number. Bob, you have a question? You have your hand raised?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mark. Which culvert is this, or where is it you're measuring this water velocity?
I'm measuring it below the dam. There's a culvert that goes under Locks Pond Road. I can measure the velocity and the depth, and from those two parameters, I can get the cubic feet per second or the flow rate.
Excellent, thank you. And Mark, what kind of device is that? Is it like a little propeller, or is it induction?
It's a little propeller. It's a little propeller that's I think it's magnetically coupled to a sensor. It was, something that the town had purchased years ago, Bill had purchased years ago, and I was just kind of holding on to it, because didn't know what to do with it. And Catherine mentioned it, and, I found it up in my attic, and so we started using
That's great. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
it. You're welcome. Any more questions on the, culvert replacement project? So it's moving along, and it's still on schedule to be done before things start breathing. Okay, next item on the agenda is the FERCog watershed-based plan. The comments from the public have been incorporated into that plan. FERCog incorporated into the plan. And I got this information from Tamsin, and she's kind of taking the lead in this. Right now the plan has been sent off to the DEP or Mass DEP for approval. I don't know how long that approval is going to take, but once that gets taken, once the approval is issued, then we assume it's going to be approved, because they've seen it a couple of times already. Once that gets approved, that means that the projects are eligible for, I think we start off with a 401B grant or an MVP grant. So once we have the watershed plan approved, and we should be able to start applying for state and federal funding to do the design work.
And whose responsibility is it to do that grant writing and stuff?
I do not know that, definitely.
Oh.
I sent them, Tamsin said that when it's all approved, they would send it off to the town, which I assume would go to Concom and to the town. It won't come to us. We don't seem to be hide up on the pecking order, but I've asked Miriam and Becky to let us know when they have a copy of it, and from there we'll go. Tamsin had mentioned last year that they should have the funding to apply for the grants for us, or to help us apply for the grants. I don't know if that's still the case, but you know, it's something we have to look into.
Because it seems like we don't wanna just wait around until they approve it to sort of get our gears in a row, you know.
I don't think we can do anything until the plan's approved.
Well,
Um,
you don't think that we could at least think of what projects we would want to support and maybe have some documentation, and just kind of assemble some materials? And we can't apply, but it doesn't mean we have to be like totally surprised when the approval comes through from DEP, which we expect it's going to do, right?
Yep. How about, I will call Tamsin up, and confirm that, you know, and see if there's something we can do in advance. And to see if they have the funding to help apply for these grants. I think we have, Tracy, you have your hand raised?
Yes, do you have a copy of the new draft?
I do not.
Oh, that'll just go to the town?
Did you sense, I'm asking Mary here, did the Concom get a copy of it?
I'll have to look back and see if we got a copy of the final report. I'm pretty sure we did, but I'll look at it, and if so, I'll send it to you.
Okay, that'd be great. I mean, we did it was last month, we did the walk around. And then those comments have been incorporated, and so it couldn't have been that long ago that the final draft is out there. But
On their
maybe-
website?
Maybe FERCog never sent it to us.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I don't remember seeing anything after the walk around.
Yeah, okay, then FERCog would have just sent it to the DEP and waiting for their approval, I suspect. But I'll check with Tamsin on that if we can get a copy of it, or if someone in town can get a copy of the final version.
Yeah,
or the-
I can check as well. Or maybe Conscom has gotten it too.
Okay,
I was pretty sure they said they had people that would be available to help us apply for the grant. Um,
I agree, that's my recollection.
okay.
Okay, anything else about the FERCog watershed-based plan? Okay, oh no, we're gonna lose everybody in 3 seconds. Um,
Didn't lose me.
Yeah,
LOL.
the town hall apparently, and maybe Arthur, you can enlighten us. The town hall has a
Yeah.
start cycle to the generator at this
Yeah,
time, correct?
That's
Probably.
exactly right. Generator went on or off, and they'll be back in a few minutes.
That seems kind of goofy, really. You know,
We are being recorded, by the way.
well, for the record, having a timeout in the middle of a meeting is a silly idea. I mean, they could do it at midnight or on a Sunday or something like that. So,
And scheduling a meeting during a known outage repeatedly, week after week. No offense, Arthur, I think you're on the committee as well, but it boggles me.
I think it happens for everybody who's meeting it's the select board too. And I also feel that,
It's a
meeting-
scheduled outage. They know when it's going to be.
yeah, but I think they happen multiple times a day, but it seems odd to me that, the other piece is that like, that the boards can be there together, but the public can't come. So
Oh no, you can go to that.
the website says that you can't, but.
Oh no, everybody's invited to the hybrid meetings. I've asked Becky for clarification. You can
Good to know.
always
They
show
need to-
up.
They need to change the website. It says not on the
Which website? I'll look it
The
up.
town
Right.
website, yeah.
Where does it say that?
Well, I'd have to go back and look, but that's what I saw yesterday.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all virtual, the public. And
Oh, but be careful. Very often it'll say virtual/hybrid.
no, it says it like there's actually a policy written that no meetings.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they haven't
Oh, so there
changed.
might be contradictory information out there.
They have not updated it. So maybe they're verbally telling people, but they haven't updated the website.
And this one is actually listed as a virtual meeting. It doesn't even say hybrid.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't.
no, it says and at town hall. It
And
says
at
virtual meeting and at town hall
Okay,
for today's meeting on their calendar. And so I always look at the location line. And if it says anything beyond virtual meeting, Becky's indicated to me the public's welcome to attend in person at town hall.
okay. The select board, it says virtual meeting. And it doesn't, but they're meeting in the.
Oh, which one are you looking at?
I looked at the one that happened last week. It just said virtual.
On Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
Virtual meeting, and then under it says town hall/Zoom hybrid meeting.
Okay,
And that's the giveaway that, oh, there will be people in person at the OWL. If it only says virtual, then it's only virtual. Like Concoms will only say virtual. They do not
Okay.
say town hall or hybrid or anything. That's how I police it. I don't know if I'm right.
okay. I must have just been looking at the wrong line for select.
I go
board.
to the calendar, the Shutesbury calendar page, but there might be pages that say different things.
Okay,
looks like our Shutesbury host is coming back online.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we're back. Can you guys hear us yet?
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
we can hear you fine. Thank you. And at some point, I'd like to talk to you about the outage when you have a moment.
What outage? You mean the power supply, I mean, the
Yeah,
generator?
for our purposes, suddenly everything goes blank, and I guess it's because of a generator restart. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It seems, and I was saying to Art and others that, I mean, could that be the outage be scheduled at midnight or something like that, or someplace where it wouldn't interrupt your meeting when
No, it can't be scheduled at midnight, but we have asked her to be scheduled earlier in the morning so that it's done before our meeting starts. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet,
We've been trying for about a year.
at least.
To get it changed. And so, it's just, one of the oddities we have to deal with.
All right. Thank you for requesting a change on that. I'll send an email into. I thank you for feedback.
If you want us, I think it's Becky who has to go, has to contact the company who does it, the generator maintenance, and it's supposed to be a trivial thing to change it, to change the exercise time.
Great, thank you.
Will change when we change the times, but I can't, I'm not sure how it will change, if it will be better or worse. I think that it might go then to be at 20 after 10, and then,
Which would be beautiful.
which would be fine,
Yeah.
but that would give us
Yeah.
incentive to get out here.
Yep. Okay, before you go any farther, there's someone on the meeting, I don't know, Mike S. Is that Mike Stokes?
That's me, Mark. Next thoughts.
Hi, Greg. Thank you, Mike.
Sure.
Okay, good. So now we're on the last item on the agenda, which is anything that we cannot reasonably anticipate prior to the meeting. Does anyone have something else they want to bring up? Okay, Bob, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, thank you again, Mark. I just wanted to say that despite the association's best efforts to control flooding by diverting water down the beach on Lake Drive, there was a severe flooding incident, perhaps multiple ones, that have caused substantial damage on the 66 Lake Drive property. Certainly thousands of dollars worth of damage. So I request LWAC as an investigative body into issues of the lake to take a look at what can be done to improve drainage from Lake Drive, because it is all just being directed down toward the one property, my property. Thank you.
Is
So
LWAC an investigative body?
Yeah, I'll let you answer that question.
I don't know.
So we had looked at it, and it didn't look like there was any significant drainage. So when did this start to happen again?
Yeah, it's been over the last week or so. Water has drained down the side of the house at 66 and excavated out an industrial amount of material, including rocks roughly the size of your hand. So that's all been pushed down toward the lake, and it's because Lake Drive has a situation in where water is trapped in the roadway, where it picks up sediment, speed, and volume, and forces that down onto one property. So I do think, Mary, as a conservation person, that this is something that is worth your taking a look at, and it has caused sufficient serious damage and more sedimentation to the lake.
Okay, thanks.
So this is a topic for the grant.
Well, I think what we've been doing is working towards getting a design to deal with these issues, which is part of the watershed-based plan. I'm open for ideas of whatever everybody else thinks we can do,
That's the big.
because I do know Bob's situation, and I know that particular storm came over on my side, down my yard, and over on the other side, Evan's yard. So the three houses got water overflow. So it's
So did you saying you got water overflow too this time?
yeah. But I have a ton of lilies in the valleys that seem to like hold everything in place, so it just washed out bark mulch and stuff. And my daughter put it back in place, and so I haven't had quite a bit of damage. I think he had a lot of rocks and stuff flow right onto his dock. So it's over the deal. Bob's right; it's an issue, and that's hopefully the result of this watershed-based plan is to get a design to deal with water coming off the mountain and coming down. Figuring out what the best plan of action is to deal with, this once a year flood that we have. Tracy, I think you have your hand raised.
Yes,
Or-
I just wanted to comment on that. I have a slideshow that I can send to LWAC so everybody can see the issue over there, and waiting for the watershed-based plan, which we don't even know is ever going to happen. We do know why it's happening over there. We've known for years, the previous Conservation Commission was well aware too. The issues, some of which have been resolved by LWA with a big push with the neighborhood to demand it, because it took over 4 years for it to happen. All the water was directed in that neighborhood to Bob's house. I was on the LWA board at the time that this was being evaluated. And the problems go beyond what has been done, although it's great that those mitigations have happened. But the water on Lake Drive, especially coming down Great Pines to Lake Drive, is because of the berming of the properties there. And there's absolutely no way, Mark, that you got anywhere near the water that Bob Douglas is getting. And that's all I'm gonna say.
So Tracy, since that time, they have, there's been 2 renovations to affect that water coming down. Evan Jones has made a retention pool up the top, and then they made the retention pool down by the beach. And like I said, I've gone out myself several times, not after this recent rain, and asked, and there was not any problems. It seemed to have resolved most of the issues, but this is a bigger rain now, so maybe we need to go look again, but both of those seem to have been working.
They help. But the other piece is that at one time was the plan years back, and then it got let go by LWA. They stopped maintaining the water going to the beach. And what occurs at that corner, just because it's a corner, is that the water wants to go a different direction. And with everybody on that side building up their properties, then it just keeps going back. And this is what's occurring, I'm sure. This has been a repeated problem over a 10-year period. So those properties are bermed up and also encroach on the road by quite a bit. So it's an LWA issue for sure.
Okay, Tom, you have your hand raised?
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to underscore what I'm hearing, some comments about it's been addressed and it's recurring, and it seems as though it's helping and it's helping. And the last storm may have shown that it's not helping as much anymore. I think they're all saying essentially that this is an issue that can only be solved by a more permanent solution with active, constant maintenance. And whatever has gone up until now is apparently not working. I have photos from that last storm that maybe not everybody has witnessed yet. And so it's just going to be a cyclical refrain of, oh, we did some work and then it got broke and it doesn't work anymore. So I just want to remind everybody that we're going in circles, and that's very non-progressive. As well, I would hope that LWAC, knowing all of this and with even the notification of this meeting, would not resort to just waiting for FERCog's words and statements and written publications, but would be more active now on solving this issue for as long as possible, please. It's doable. And please don't push it away. Thank you.
Tom, if you have recent pictures, please send them to the Conservation Committee.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, they're from, I think, Thursday or Friday last week.
That would be helpful.
And a video. Sure, thank you.
Art, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, thanks. I just want to say that was an extraordinary rain. We've been on, I'm much higher up Lake Drive than Bob is. And I think this is the first time in 15 years that the runoff went all the way down to the beach. It was just exceptional. So I'm not saying that, you know, all the concerns that have been raised aren't an issue, but that was some rain.
Yeah, I
Tracy?
just wanted, I apologize, Mark, just one last thing. I do understand that there are exceptional rains. I do understand that people have done stuff to help. I'm grateful for it. I understand there's a grant being applied for, but none of that takes away the responsibility from LWAC to look into this and as an interface between LWA, the lake, and the town to take responsibility and look at this. It also does not cut away the Conservation Commission's responsibility to enforce that sediment doesn't go into the lake. So thank you for that final comment on my part.
Tracy, your hand's raised, I think.
Yes. So the last thing that I do want to say is that in the FERCog, I guess it was in the application process, which I believe was what LWAC filled out. It stated that the problem on that road was that the person at the bottom, the low point, I don't remember the language, but indicated that the proposed solution, it was in a chart on the in the report, that the proposed solution was to ask the homeowner to put in a bigger pipe outlet from his property, which goes back to where we were back in 2018 with LWA expecting Bob to take all the water and put in just a bigger pipe. So it's not okay to ask a government agency to ask a homeowner to take all the water in the neighborhood. But that is something that LWAC, I believe, did. So I'm not feeling super confident that you really are trying to figure out a solution to this, because that appeared to be the solution.
My understanding, LWAC, which is us, has never done anything and written anything in any application for anything. I know that FERCog had sent an early draft out to Concom. This was years ago. And I never, LWAC never even saw a copy of that. So let's get the record straight, Tracy. LWAC never, ever applied for that grant. I mean, we talked to them, we showed them, around, we showed them all the issues around the lake. But we never applied for any grants yet. I don't think anyone.
That wasn't my question. That's not even what I was saying. It was in the information that was given to FERCog. And I actually have someone over there who one of your members gave the information to FERCog. So I don't know. I mean, you're the ones who have been spearheading this FERCog application, not the grant application, but they're the intermediary where they make a recommendation to DEP. The information that they gathered from the neighborhood, which my understanding it was from you all, said that. I saw it. So, I hope that that's changed. I know that the Conservation Commission was aware of that as well. So, and I know that you've had discussions regarding that. So let's not pretend that this isn't really an issue, Mark.
No. Of course. Mike, you have your hand raised.
Yes. First of all, I applaud you, Mark. The stormwater issues are continuing. Reality is I've walked around the lake hundreds of times. You have numerous streams every single day, putting silt and sediment and what have you into the lake. And I could only imagine the volume of that sediment as it exists right now and all the efforts to try to stop it. Maybe you ought to look at it as short-term mitigation to fix problems, but in the bigger picture, the only way, in my opinion, it could be fixed is with FERCog and the grants and the tremendous job you're doing. Also, when I walked around with FERCog, she's talking about the incredible need to, what do I want to say, dredge the cove in the far end of the lake, because you'll have no lake in 30 years from what they were telling me, based on what's flowing into it. It's like putting your finger in a dike. We're trying to stop one or two pipes from putting sediment into the lake. It's a much bigger problem. And I think you're addressing it with the only resource available to handle it, which would be FERCog and grants and big money. So I just think we all should keep that in perspective. And I don't even know the number of the streams, but I personally have seen at least 14, 16, and there's probably 30. I don't know. But just to put it in perspective, it's a big issue. Thank you.
Um,
So, and again, just to make clear that we have not done nothing. You know, there was a short-term solution that was put in place, that up until now has been working. I agree, a long-term solution is what we need, while we keep doing these short-term to get to the
Agreed.
long-term.
I guess in my mind is, I'd be open for someone's idea to suggest, what to do. I don't have the technical skills to recommend a solution. That's what the 604.
Dredging the lake. Burcock said it, not me. Or you won't have a lake.
Bob, you have your hand raised? Bob, I think you might be muted.
No, Bob's.
I apologize. I thought I was done. Mike, I'm sorry. Could you introduce yourself?
Sure. Am I muted?
We can hear
Oh,
you.
we're good.
I just don't know your last name, and I'm
It's
interested-
Mike Stotts. I built the house at 26 Lake Drive just recently.
Mike Stouts.
Stotts, Stotz.
Great, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
By the way, I've been coming to the lake since the early 60s with my family, so we have a long, long history there.
Great, and my family has been owners and dues paying members since the 70s, so I'm quite familiar with the lake as well.
I got you beat.
Yeah, well, perhaps we can do something about that. One thing that I wanted to say, Mark, is you've been looking for suggestions. I really think that the LWAC website has some really great resources on spreading out the drainage and the studies that have been done in the past, which talk about breaking up the drainage as opposed to focusing it on one area. So I think there are some really good resources that are within the scope and budget of the Lake Wyola Association that could be enacted as soon as possible. So that's just my comment, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm open from the committee members, I'm open for suggestions on how to proceed here.
Yeah, I'll take it back to Conservation Committee to look again and look at the pictures.
Okay,
Like I said, because the last feedback we got was that the things that we put in place were working, so I'll ask them to look at it again.
it's quite possible that what was done is working for smaller rainfalls, small
Yes.
amounts of rain, and that when we get that once every 10-year rain or whatever the number is, it isn't enough.
Oh, it could also be they filled in already, they need to be dredged out again, so I'm not sure.
Howard?
That particular rainstorm, the lake came up 5 inches, so that was a lot of water. And then we've had 2 this year. The one previous to it came up 10 inches. The one that, Miriam says I lowered the lake 10 inches, I didn't, but. So we've had 2 bad ones that we know of this year.
So, Bob, is your hand raised, or is it just, Rob, you're muted again.
I had nothing more to add. Thank you. My hand was just remained up. Thank you for recognizing that.
So back to my previous question then to the committee members. So what's your recommendations on what we should do? I'm at a loss to know what to do. To be honest with you, if someone said to me, Mark, you have unlimited funds, go do it, go fix it. I wouldn't have the technical skills to do it, or to make a recommendation.
All right, it seems like we need an engineering study if we don't have one, and that's what's holding it up, and we don't have the resources or authority to get one. We can only recommend that somebody else get one.
Now, Bob, I think, made reference to the Campbell study. Now, the Campbell study was like a nice list of things, but it wasn't an actionable plan. They didn't say, what to do here, what to do there. They just said, okay, here you can do something, here you can do something, but they didn't in my recollection, say, okay, this is the diameter pipe you use, and this is where it goes. Here's the here is the drawing of the hill. Here's where you put this, here's where you put that, and this is what it's gonna cost. We definitely, the Campbell plan was a very good start, but it wasn't down to the point where we could say, give it to a company and say, implement this. In my mind.
Right, because that's what we need. I mean, we've had short-term solutions that work for normal conditions, and if we need a overarching, long-range plan that will address more of these unusual events, we're gonna need an engineering study, and I don't see how we can get it unless we can get one of these grants through FERCog.
And that was the direction that we were going. The other thing, you may just give George a call and tell him that that it's not working, the solutions aren't working now, maybe they can look at it again too.
No,
Because like I said, this is the first that we've heard that it's not working again, so he should know, so they could go out and look at it too.
I could do that, or certainly anybody, anyone who's a member of the association, you know, can approach the association and say, hey, you know, can you guys look into this? I can certainly do it, but, you know.
I'll get in touch with George.
Okay, no, thank you, Art. All right, so we have a couple of hand raised. I'm not sure what the sequence you know, what the order of people raising their hands was. Well, I'm just gonna start, this, from the list here, as, Tom, you had some comments.
Thank you. This is a repeat of what I said before, paraphrased. A 1/4 inch of rain after a 5-inch rain event is going to have different effects from a 1/4 inch of rain before a 5-inch rain event. So every time we have a significant rain event, the land has been compromised and is going to react differently to what are normal and small amounts of rain. And I know everybody knows this, it's the simple physics of erosion. And again, if you listen to the recording of this meeting, you'll find a lot of circular talk about unexpected, unusual, normal, etc. So that aside, I would like to ask for a spirit of progression and not circularity. And I would like for the LWAC members to consider things that they've just talked about, which I think are great, like referring things to the Conservation Commission, who might have more authority or more resources available to how to address this, or engaging in engineering study. And there are more channels than just waiting for FERCog and the money that grants from FERCog might make available to get an engineering study done sooner than all of that waiting. I know of channels through the town that you can get things like this financed. So I would just like to request of all of you LWAC members, please be more proactive and please do not advocate for waiting, because that's what I'm hearing. And not from everyone. Again, I did hear 2 things about referring this to the Concom and getting an engineering study, but I'd like to hear the adverbs of now and presently and currently. And please don't punt this down the line and just wait. It will be expensive, undoubtedly, but money is not only available through grants. Thank you.
Bob, I think you're up next.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And what was the name of the engineer that worked recently on your property? And I don't mean to call him out for that reason, but I think within the realm of what could be suggested by LWAC to LWA would be to hire a local engineer to do a small study on what can be done. It's not a tremendous mystery of what could be done to improve water drainage on that roadway. It was highlighted in the Campbell study, and any engineer, any town engineer would be able to immediately see what is causing the trouble and suggest results. And I can't remember the name of that engineer that works in the area, but I know even contacting him would be something that would make a difference. I think that LWA certainly has money that they could conduct such a study. It would be a really proactive way to show that things are being done. So you asked for concrete suggestions. That would be my suggestion that certainly isn't with reach of the committee. So anyway, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Well, I can just a comment on that, I can certainly contact, I forgot the guy's name, so I can look it up. And also, there was an engineering firm who worked with FERCog who came up, who did a site inspections. And I can certainly contact them and get quotes and see if they have the expertise and get quotes for a design. And I can certainly do that.
It strikes me that some of these things that are being suggested are being directed to LWAC when they should be being directed to Lake Wyola Association.
That's correct.
Can I ask what LWAC, what their charge is then?
I'd have to read it again, but basically it's taking care of the dam, taking care of I have to look it up on our website. To be honest with you. But we were basically go on.
No, I was just gonna say, it's on the website. You can look at our mission statement.
Sure. Does it include protecting the lake from sediment and drainage?
I have to look.
Yeah,
I don't-
why don't we look and see? Why don't you?
And what you have on the website, sorry for interrupting, but what you have on the website is something that's been created since the original mandate of LWAC was put on paper. Becky sent us all out that original letter 2 summers ago saying and her contention was that LWAC was not doing what they were originally intended to do. And it was created as an ad hoc committee to deal with these issues at the lake of stormwater and of maintaining the roads, because the decision was made. My understanding is that the town had offered to take over the roads only if the community was closed down for 6 months out of the year, which was voted against. Whether that was voted against by people over here in town meeting, I don't know, well before my time. But that was the reason that it was created, so that the town could help the community with dealing with the roads. At that point, LWA, which was a filing as a fraternal order and a social club, different years filing different ways for whatever reason. Since 2007, they have been a 501c3 public charity. The reason for doing that was so that they could receive grant funding by applying for grants, by having that status, which was a great idea. Unfortunately, the filing was done incorrectly, which created a lot of brouhaha over here. And they went back to behaving as a social club, calling it a membership-based 501c3. When it was originally filed was probably a mistake, but a membership-based 501c3 does not mean membership exclusivity. It means that the members have the power. We don't. You join LWA, we hear nothing. There's no website. You can't see the bylaws. You can't see anything except for the fundraising or the social activities that are going on. So LWA needs to start operating like a 501c3. Public charity whose mission
We
is
are not
to serve and protect.
we are here to advise the select board.
Well, you are here to advise the select board on things that are happening over at the lake, and you cannot separate yourself from what is going on with LWA, because your membership on this committee is exclusive to LWA members, which is a conflict of interest completely. It shouldn't happen to anybody. Look at it. It is, except for people who are on other committees. You're here representing Board of Health. There's somebody. Look at the makeup of the committee.
We have a board of
Mark has
health.
a copy of that. Mark's provided that to me.
We have the dam keeper.
Mhm.
Well, that's half of us.
We have Walter,
We have the select board.
yeah, member, and Walter,
And then everybody else, it says 5+ LWA members. That's it. It's not open to other townspeople who might have a different take here, because they would not have a vested interest in their own selves, in their own properties. So that needs to change, because I believe that's not even legal to have a town committee that has exclusivity to a certain class of people, which in this case is people that are LWA members, to a 501c3. that cannot be exclusive to certain people and cannot force people to be members.
So I thought that 5-member LWA was a limit, not a requirement. I thought it was no more than 5.
That's correct.
Where
But
is
those
this
are
all
all the
written?
members that are on the committee. It's no more than 5 LWA members plus the other people. There's no other slots for anybody else. Look at it.
Do we have a limit on the number of people who can be committee members?
Well, yeah, we, in the original charter, it had, up to 5 LWA members. The select board, planning board, which we never got any, no one from the planning board has ever wanted to participate.
Right.
It was Concom, when Mary's on from Concom, it was Board of Health. Right, and we had the emergency management director, Walter Tibbetts, is on it, and had may change, depending upon what his role in town is, but certainly someone in that capacity, really, which Walter filled. Yeah, it was on the committee.
I think it was set up that way because this is an advisory committee. You know, it was set up to advise or to help work with LWA on making recommendations for this area.
LWA needs to be advised on how to operate legally. You should
Yeah,
not
I
be
don't think-
participating with an organization that's operating illegally. All their properties are supposed to be open to the public. They have signs up that say that they are not. They say, you all know this, Mark, and so does.
No, I think, but the office is off the subject here, Tracy.
Well, it's not off the subject because you're telling us to go talk to LWA. You try, we can't hear back from George. You contact George, you don't hear anything. You contact LWA, you hear nothing. They keep all of us completely out of it. And because you are all LWA members, not all, but the several of you here that I see, defend it. And I wonder why.
Okay, I have a loss for comments from my perspective. Certainly the floor is open to membership for comments. I have, Tom, your hand is raised.
Thank you. Where can we get this, through, does LWAC have its charter? I don't see it online or anything.
It's on the website, on the,
It's on the LWAC website? Because I just don't see it. Would you mind guiding me?
I don't know if I can know how to share. I can try to share my screen, I guess.
I'm looking at it on the town website.
Who is? Where are you?
Mike Stotts, I'm in Maryland, but,
Which
Lake-
page are you
Lake-
on?
I'm looking at Shrewsbury, Mass, Lake Wild Advisory Committee.
Okay, and I'm there now.
The
And
purpose of the
where-
Lake Wild Advisory Committee is to advise the select board and the town to promote these.
Oh, I don't
goals.
think that's their charter. I'm looking for the original document that is their charter that describes things that we've just talked about, because we've gone beyond what's written on this website. But there should be a charter document somewhere, correct? Like when the LWAC was enacted,
Rolling down.
because that would have the language that we're talking about. The website can't be relied upon to be the official source of.
What I'll do is I will circulate, or in the minutes of the meeting, I will put, go back and put the original charter and then the original scope of the committee, and then the current scope of the committee. So everyone can kind of see what it is. And certainly, if the select board wants to expand that scope, that's fine. Or if they want to change our membership, totally fine with me. So,
Because I couldn't find anything about like the 5+ LWA members or anything like that on your website. So I think there's more information, more language somewhere, and that would be great to have, please.
I have a document, and then I will send it out to everybody from the original one and then the changes that were made.
Awesome. Anything official, any and all amendments would be awesome. Thank you.
So that'll be in the minutes of this next meeting. Bob, you're up.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. While you've got that on your screen from the website, can you read the fourth thing on the what are the duties of the LWAC? Number 4.
We don't have it on the screen here. Can you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mike's thoughts?
Well, it says, yeah, Lake Wyola Advisory Committee. The
The
first
last-
Lake Wyola Advisory Committee is to advise the select board and the town to promote these goals.
And what's the fourth goal or the final goal?
There's 4 bullet points. The last one is
What's the fourth one?
provide guidance for road maintenance to reduce runoff.
Provide guidance for road maintenance to prevent runoff.
There we go.
The
That's in
charges
the
of
original
LLI.
charter too. It's
Okay.
pulled way away from
Thank you,
that.
Michael.
No problem. What, well, whatever.
They froze again, huh? Bob, you're muted.
Either that or they got very quiet.
Yeah, maybe
They-
they're shocked and awed.
I'm gonna go.
Have a good one, Tracy.
Good rest of your weekend, everybody.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you, Tracy.
Oh, I'm the host now.
Congratulations.
Wonder how that gets chosen. That's interesting, though. I guess that makes the meeting never go away, which I suppose is helpful.
All right, you were inundated by water at 1.2, as I recall. Is that right?
No, we're pretty high, so, I mean, you know, we get runoff coming down the drive, but it never gets close to the water until this time. I mean, we've just never had an inundation like this. So I think it was a pretty exceptional storm.
Yeah, but that's what we said in July, wasn't it? When the boat ramp washed out. Like
Yeah.
we keep talking about these exceptional events. I don't know if exceptional is the right word anymore.
All I'm saying, this is the first time in 15 years that we've had anything like this.
Yeah,
So
I've only been here 6 years, so I can only speak very limited. I just feel like human beings and weather are such different time scales. 15 years might not even be significant.
here they come.
Okay, I think we're back. Can everyone hear us?
Yep.
Okay, so that's good. So that's be the last time the generator cuts out for today. Which is a positive thing.
This is last summer.
So,
Was this meeting last summer?
It could.
so, okay, I'm a little at a loss for what we want to do here. And I'm opening up to committee members for suggestions. I appreciate everyone's input. Yeah, oh, can everyone hear me? Okay, Tom's saying yes.
Yes.
So,
I think the 2 actions we already said are, let's go to the COMCOM that does have some authority here, and let's go back to LWA so they can go take a look and see what their response is. And get input from them before we decide what to recommend.
okay. And if it's okay with everybody, I would like I would like to take Bob's suggestion and contact, the engineering companies, who 2 engineers, and get a cost, what would it cost to come up with a design independent of the first copy? That's for a design for 100-year flood. For 100-year rainfall, whatever kind of the numbers you're using these days.
Yeah, it's 100 year we're looking at.
So I'm if the committee approves that, I'd be happy to go out and contact somebody.
Okay, I move that we deputize Mark to contact an engineering company and look for an engineer.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Howard,
Aye.
Mary, yes, Albert. Yes, and Art said yes.
You got a unique problem there, though. You're right down and you got water coming from both directions. Everybody's high and to your left and everybody's high.
We have the same problem as the Cocottes have
Yeah.
on Tom's side of the lake.
Yeah.
There's a couple of split places on the lake that's the geographic, the terrain.
Yeah.
Pushes the water in that direction. But that doesn't mean that the water can't, that doesn't mean that the water can't be intercepted higher up in the.
That's what I was saying, in more than one place.
That's right.
Don't send it all to one person.
Yep, no, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same goal. Okay. Let's see, hold on here. Participants. Any other comments from everybody? Mike, you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just want to be clear. I think, I applaud everyone's efforts for sure. I just think that maybe another way to look at it is, there's definitely a short-term need and a short-term fix. But also keep an eye to, that it's short-term and that there definitely needs to be a longer-term fix, which is going to be significant and cost a lot of money. But maybe try to tie the two short-term and long-terms together. Again, I applaud everyone's efforts to manage stormwater. It's a problem, there's no doubt. So, thanks.
I'm not sure a short-term solution is really the right answer here. Because a short-term, in my mind, a short-term solution means you're trying to deal with the vast majority of storms, but not necessarily the 100-year storm. I guess and we already know that we're going to get bigger storms. So to me, it's like, let's ask someone to come up with a design for a 100-year storm. And I'm going to confine it, if everyone's okay with this, I'm going to confine the request to just the Lake Drive, Great Pine Drives, this side of the lake, which is the west side of the lake. Because that seems to be where the biggest concern is. On Tom's side of the lake, I think the homeowners have done a great job already of dealing with, of regrading that road and pushing things off to the side. That's not 100%, but it's an improvement. Mike, you have your hand raised?
Yes. Let me back up and just say, I think we've got a couple things we're looking at the same time. One is stormwater runoff from the roads and to protect homeowners and what have you. The other is maybe longer term, it's the lake and the amount of silt that's going into it outside of what we control right now, the streams, et cetera, snow melt, what have you. Maybe it's more of, address the road situation and that stormwater runoff and with the 100-year storm in mind, sure. And then longer term, the bigger picture. So if that helps at all.
I guess it's always been my thoughts is that we would come up with a design and then implement it as funds were available. And so you're right. I wouldn't say it's short term. I think it's easy stuff to do. We can do, and as funding and resources are available from the town, from the association, it's there. It's there. We can do what we can do in small parts. That was the idea behind the Campbell study. Is let's define a few things and then and then implement it, implement piece by piece.
And that was the purpose of the FERCog, of connecting with FERCog,
That's
to
right.
have that kind of guidance on a bigger level and access to funds.
That's right. Now, the FERCog thing is also looking at the whole watershed.
Yes.
So it's looking at all sides of the lake. It's looking at the North Cove. But I can certainly see if I can get a quote for someone from an engineering company. And I know there's the engineering company that FERCog worked with who did a site inspection, so they're familiar with the problems along the lake, and I think so I can certainly approach them. I think they have the expertise to do it, to come up with a quote, for a design. And it's probably gonna be something redundant to what FERCog is doing, but maybe able to move a little faster. Okay. Bob, did you have a hand
Yeah,
raised?
Just in conclusion, I'd like to thank the LWAC for listening today. I really appreciate being able to give a few feedback. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Good.